Hello, so today we'll be talking about reproductive system of mammals. Okay, so what is reproduction? We'll first see. So let's do this chapter, right? So what is reproduction? Reproduction, the process by which a fully developed organism produces a new individual of its own kind, is known as reproduction. Of its kind or of its own kind. Okay, of its own kind. Okay. So what basically happens is a fully developed organism is produced. That is the process of reproduction. And what is the definition of a reproductive system? It is a system of sex organs within an organism which works together for the purpose of sexual reproduction. So a group of organisms, they work together for the purpose of sexual reproduction to produce a new organism, to produce a new organism, or give birth to a child, like in humans, right? So this is what is the definition of reproductive system or reproduction. Now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so basically what we'll see under reproductive system of mammals, there are a lot of parts. Okay, so first we'll see reproductive system in mammals, then we'll move on to the other parts. So let's see the human reproductive system, right? So it is considered as an example of reproductive system in the placental mammals. Okay, so what are the placental mammals? They basically develop placenta. Okay, so these and mammals which develop placenta, they are known as the placental mammals. Okay, and placenta, what is it? It is basically what a layer which provides nutrition to the young one, provides nutrition, okay, to the child from the mother. It helps in providing the nutrition. So first we'll see the male reproductive system. What are the organs, how the male reproductive system works, we'll see that. Then we'll move to the female reproductive system. Okay, so let's see what are the organs involved in male reproductive system. So basically this first is the testis, that is the male gonads. Then is the system of ducts. First is epididymis, then is ductus deferens. You know, ductus deferens is also known as vas deferens. Okay, this is the other name of ductus deferens. Okay, then is the ejaculatory duct, then is the urethra. Okay, these are the main organs. And what are the accessory sex glands? The accessory sex glands involve the seminal vesicles, the prostate, and the bulbourethral gland. These three together, they help in the production of the semen. Okay, we'll come across this word, what is a semen. Okay, and within the accessory sex glands, there are two others, that is the scrotum and the penis. Okay, so in this diagram, what you can see, basically it is the whole reproductive system in mammals, right? You can see all the glands, right? What is mentioned here, that is the prostate is there, then there's the epididymis, testis, scrotum, and then there's the penis. Okay, so it is a very detailed diagram of the human reproductive system or the male reproductive system, right? And this is the sagittal plane. Okay, sagittal plane, you can see what is the sagittal plane, right? So sagittal plane cross section is shown here. Now let's move on. So basically first we'll start with the scrotum. Okay, scrotum is a supporting structure of testis. So basically it is a supporting structure of the testis or for the testis. Scrotum consists of a loose skin and underlying subcutaneous layer that hangs from the root of the penis. So basically see here the scrotum is shown. Scrotum, it is a supporting structure for the penis. Okay, so externally the scrotum looks like a single pouch of skin separated into lateral portions by a median ridge called the raphe. Okay, so basically it is separated into lateral portions by a median ridge, that is a division. The median ridge acts as a division. Okay, and it is called the raphe. So it can be called as a division, and externally it appears as a single pouch. It has a pouch like structure. Then internally the scrotal septum divides the scrotum into two sacs. Okay, so internally there is actually a division, each contain a single testis. So there are two scrotal sacs and each contains a single testis. So each scrotum contains a single testis, and the division internally is very prominent, right? So, and then there is the, what are the muscles? Okay, the dartos muscle, what it does, and the cremator muscle. Let's see what the dartos muscle and the cremator muscle helps in for the scrotum. Okay, the septum is made up of a subcutaneous layer and muscle tissue called the dartos muscle. So the scrotum, see the scrotum, scrotal septum divides the scrotum, right? So this septum is made up of the dartos muscle, and it is composed of bundles of smooth muscle fibers. Okay, and what is the cremator muscle? It is associated with each testis in the scrotum. Actually, it is a series of small bands of skeletal muscle that descend as an extension of the internal oblique muscle through the spermatic cord to surround the testis. Okay, so basically, see, there is the dartos muscle. Can you see this diagram? And the cremator muscle? What basically the cremator muscle does is it helps in descending of the scrotum. Scrotum is always, it descends from male body, right? It descends from the body containing the testis. So testis always is grows outside the body. Okay, so why this happens, we'll come across this. Because of certain temperature differences, the human body temperature and the temperature inside the scrotum is different. Okay, so that is why temperature difference, I'll write it down here. Temperature difference causes the scrotal sac to descend. Temperature difference. Okay, so now let's move on. Coming to what is the function. Now see, you'll understand what is the function. The location of the scrotum and the contraction of its muscle fibers regulate the temperature of the testis. So I told you temperature difference, right? Normal sperm production requires a temperature about 2 to 3 degrees Celsius below core body temperature. So the human body temperature may be like, it can be as for example it is 35 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the temperature should be 2 to 3 degrees Celsius lower in the scrotum. So it can be 33 in the scrotum, right? So this is the temperature at which the testis will be there and the sperm will be produced. See here, the scrotum is very prominent, right? This is the scrotum and this is the testicle or the testis. Okay, and lower temperature maintained within scrotum because it is outside the pelvic cavity, right? It is outside the body or the pelvic cavity, that is why it is lower temperature and it is maintained this temperature. And specific function of the dartos and cremator muscle, I told you, and now you'll understand what is this function. In response to cold temperature, the cremator and the dartos muscles contract. If the temperature is very low, these muscles contract, and contraction of the cremator muscle moves the testis closer to the body where they can absorb body heat. So if the temperature outside gets very low, so what will happen? These muscles will contract and this testicle, they will move closer to the body. So what will happen then? It will absorb body heat, right? So if it absorbs body heat, then it will again be back to the normal temperature at which the sperms will be produced, right? So contraction of the dartos muscle causes the scrotum to become tight, which reduces heat loss. So contraction of the dartos muscle causes what? It causes scrotum to become tight, which reduces what? Heat loss. So heat temperature is maintained also, and heat loss of heat is reduced also. So both of this occurs because of the dartos and cremator muscle if the temperature outside is very low, right? So exposure to warmth reverses this action. So exposure to warmth means if the temperature is high outside, if temperature is high outside, in that case this reverse thing will happen, right? Relaxation of this muscle will happen and it will descend more. so that temperature is more lower and heat loss will be, it will lose more heat, right? The dartos muscle will relax more so that heat is lost more. Okay, right? You're very clear with the function of the scrotum. What is it? Now let's move on. Now we'll come to the testis. Okay, so what is the testis? Testis, there are two pairs of testes inside each scrotum, right? The testis or testicles are paired oval glands in the scrotum measuring about 5 centimeter long and 2.5 centimeter in diameter, right? The testes develop near the kidneys in the posterior portion of the abdomen. So this is the location. So basically this is the location. And then tunica vaginalis and the tunica albuginea. These are the layers of the testis. Okay, it is a serous membranous which is derived from the peritoneum and forms during the descent of the testis, partially covers the testis. So they basically, this tunica vaginalis, it forms basically during the descent of the testis, that is when the testis descends into the scrotum from the body, away from the body. And what is tunica albuginea? Internal to the tunica vaginalis, the testis is surrounded by a white fibrous capsule. So this is a serous membrane and this is a fibrous capsule, right? Composed of this dense irregular connective tissue called tunica albuginea. Okay. Now what are the lobules? Tunica albuginea extends inward to form septa that divide the testis into a series of internal compartments called lobules. I'll show you the diagram. That time it will become very clear to you. Right now just go through what are the parts of the testis. That is, first is tunica vaginalis, then is tunica albuginea, then is the lobules. And the last one is seminiferous tubules. So what happens is tunica albuginea extend inward and it forms septa and divide the testis into a series of lobules. Okay, so like this lobules are formed. Okay, like this. Okay, so seminiferous tubules, each of the 200 to 300 lobules contains 1 to 3 tightly coiled tubules known as the seminiferous tubules. So you know about the tubules, right? Like this, the tubules are like this, structures like this. Okay, so within each lobule there are 3 tightly coiled tubules, 1 to 3 tightly coiled tubules. Okay, and what is the function of the testis? Produce sperm and secrete the hormones required for production, movement and male reproductive system, right? Spermatogenic cells develop into spermatozoa or the sperm, and Sertoli cells help in the process of spermatogenesis, the production of sperm. So Sertoli cells are present within the testis, you know, and main and the most important function of testis is production of sperm. So basically, what are the sperms? They are basically the male reproductive cells, production of sperm. That is the basic and the most important function of testis. Okay, and very important part of male reproductive system. Okay, let's move on. Now we'll see certain structures which are very important to understand how this formation of the sperm occurs and how it moves, okay, via these structures into the urethra and out of the body into the female vagina. Okay, how it moves, we need to understand these structures: efferent duct, rete testis, epididymis and vas deferens. I told you, right, vas deferens is also known as ductus deferens. That is only vas deferens, right? So let's see what is the efferent duct. A structure connecting the rete testis with the initial section of the epididymis. Now I told you that the tunica albuginea and tunica vaginalis, see here the tunica vaginalis is there, then there is the tunica albuginea, and the tunica albuginea, it moves inwards. See, this is it moves inwards and it forms lobules. Each of this is a lobule. Okay, and within the lobule, these are the tubules. These are the tubules. Okay, and this part is the rete testis. See, you can see, right, rete testis. So what the efferent duct does is, efferent duct structure connecting the rete testis with the initial section of the epididymis. So after the rete testis is there, the efferent duct is there. This is the efferent duct. and then there is the epididymis. These are all connecting structures. They help in the movement of the sperm. Sperms are produced within these lobules, then they move via the retrotestis into the efferent duct, into the epididymis, then into the vas deferens and the urethra, penis, and into the vagina. Okay, or outside the body. Okay, so these are all connecting structures. So what I told you, right? Now let's see what is the epididymis. The epididymis is a long coiled tube that stores sperm and transports it from the testis. It is comprised of 3 sections. These are the head, body, and tail. See here, the body is there, the head of the epididymis, the body of the epididymis, and then there is the tail of the epididymis. Everything is connected. First is the lobule, then is the retrotestis, then is the efferent duct, then there is the epididymis, then there is the vas deferens. So as I tell you, you can write it down in your copy so that it will be very clear to you how the movement occurs, right? Now last one is the vas deferens. It is a continuation of the epididymis and is involved in transporting spermatozoa from the epididymis to the ejaculatory ducts. Okay, so you need to remember this very clearly, the structures, that what is the function of the testis and what are these structures, what do they do. These are very important as you go through this chapter. Okay, let's move on. Now see, I've given a very vivid structure of this sperm, and you can see here epididymis, tunica albuginea. You can see in this structure the epididymis, ductus deferens, these are very clear. See, first you can see the epididymis head, then there is the efferent duct, right? See, here is the retrotestis, then there is the ductus deferens of the efferent duct, then there is the epididymis head, then body, and then the tail, and then there is the vas deferens of the ductus deferens, vas deferens. Okay, so this section is very important, the sagittal section of the testis, right? So let's move on. Now I'll come to the accessory sex organs or the accessory sex glands. So accessory sex glands, first one is the seminal vesicle, as I told you, then there's the prostate, right? So seminal vesicle, what it does is, the paired seminal vesicles are convoluted pouch like structures lying posterior to the base of the urinary bladder and anterior to the rectum. So this is the position of the seminal vesicle. Okay, so here you can see there is a diagram of ampulla, then the ejaculatory duct, then here is the seminal vesicle. Okay, this one is the seminal vesicle. Okay, then what is the function? Secretes an alkaline viscous fluid that contains a monosaccharide sugar, prostaglandin, clotting proteins that are different from the blood. Okay, the alkaline nature of seminal fluid helps to neutralize the acidic environment of the urethra and female reproductive tract that otherwise inactivate and kill sperm. So basically this alkaline nature, this seminal fluid which is released from the seminal vesicle is alkaline. Seminal fluid is alkaline and it helps in inactivating or neutralizing the acidic environment of the female reproductive tract. And now we'll move on to what is prostate. Prostate is a single donut shaped gland. Okay, this is the prostate, and you can see here donut shaped gland about the size of a golf ball. It is interior to the urinary bladder and surrounds the prostatic urethra. And what is the function of the prostate? The prostate secretes a milky, slightly acidic fluid that contains several substances like citric acid and is used by sperm for ATP production. So citric acid basically helps in ATP production, right? Several proteolytic enzymes such as prostate specific antigen, lysozyme. So what is the function of lysozyme? Break down the clotting proteins from the seminal vesicles, and the seminar plasmin. Okay, antibiotic that can destroy bacteria, etc. Okay, so there is a antibiotic present here. So what is the name? You should remember this, seminal plasmin, right? Seminal plasmin. It's very important. You need to remember this name. It is an antibiotic present in the fluid secreted by the prostate. Okay. Now we'll see the bulbourethral gland. Okay. Let's see that. So the bulbourethral gland are the paired glands, or it is also known as the Cooper's glands, are about the size of peas. Okay, they are located inferior to the prostate on either side of the membranous urethra within the deep muscles of the perineum, and their ducts open into the spongy urethra. Okay, what is the function now? During sexual arousal, the bulbourethral gland secrete an alkaline fluid into the urethra that protects the passing sperm by neutralizing acids from the urine in the urethra. So basically what is that? The seminal vesicle, prostate, and the bulbourethral gland together they release three kinds of fluids, right? Together they produce the semen. Okay, and the semen basically helps the sperm, nourishes the sperm, and it helps in neutralizing the vagina, the acidic vagina. This is the basic function of the semen, and it also nourishes the sperm, right? Okay, now coming to what is the ejaculatory duct and what is the process of ejaculation. Once sperm cells are produced in the testis and accumulate in the epididymis, they rely on the vas deferens and ejaculatory duct to propel them into the urethra and out of the penis during ejaculation. The ejaculatory duct delivers sperm. Ejaculation is the propulsion or the expulsion of the semen along with the sperms. Okay, the ejaculatory duct delivers sperm into the urethra, adding secretion and additives from the prostate necessary for sperm function. So basically secretions, these are the secretions. The semen from the three of the organs, the semen is secreted, and that is what nourishes the sperm. Okay, very clear about this, right? Now coming to the penis. Okay, the penis contains the urethra and is a passageway for the ejaculation of or the propulsion of the semen and the excretion of the urine, right? It is cylindrical in shape. Parts of the penis, will come to that. The first one is the body, then the glands, and then the root. Okay, the body of penis is composed of three cylindrical masses of tissue, each surrounded by a fibrous tissue called the tunica albuginea. The two dorsolateral masses are called the corpora cavernosa penis. The smaller mid-ventral mass, the corpus spongiosum penis, contains the spongy urethra and keeps it open during ejaculation. And the glans penis, the distal end of the corpus spongiosum penis, is slightly enlarged acron-shaped region called the glans penis. And the root of the penis is attached portion, proximal portion. So see this diagram, it will be very clear to you. The root of the penis, and then there is the body of the penis. Okay, so this diagram is very clearly given, and what is written is very clearly explained here, so it will be clear to you. See here, this is the bulbourethra, the Cooper's gland, prostatic urethra, and the urethra runs through it. See, this is the spongy urethra. Okay, external urethral orifice, right? External opening. Urethral orifice means the external opening. Okay, and here see the glans penis. The distal end of the penis is the glans penis, right? So this is all about the male reproductive system. Okay, the male reproductive system, the organs and the accessory organs, right? Now next we'll move into the female reproductive system. We'll move into the female reproductive system in the next part or in the next video. So let's just once recapitulate. Okay, we'll just go through what we did right now. So basically we went through the male reproductive system. First was the scrotum, supporting structure, right? Division is known as the raphe. Then there is the two sacs. Okay, then there is the cremator and the dartos muscle, and the diagram. What is the function? Basically maintain body temperature, maintain the temperature below the body temperature so that sperms can be produced. and the cremator and the dartos muscle functions are very important. You need to remember what they do, the cremator and the dartos muscles. Then there is the testis, very important thing. Tunica albuginea, tunica vaginalis, then the lobules, and then there is the seminiferous tubules. Then what is the function? Basically production of sperm. That is the main function, you need to remember. Okay. Then efferent duct, retetestis, this is the efferent duct. Then there is the retetestis, then there is the epididymis and the vas deferens, right? The sagittal section, the accessory glands, that is the seminal vesicle and the function of the vesicle. Then there is the prostate and its function. It contains the seminoplasmin, antibiotic that can destroy bacteria, etc. Right? Very important thing. Then there is the bulbourethral gland, and here is a diagram. Side view, again the male reproductive system diagram I have given. The scrotum, the ejaculatory duct, the anus, everything is very clear in this diagram, right? Then the last one is the penis, right? Basically very important thing to understand. So let's continue in the next video. Okay, thank you.